Hello everyone, welcome to Minghui Radio, bringing you podcasts of stories relating to the persecution of Falun Gong in China, insights and experiences gained by practitioners during the course of their cultivation, special items of interest, and music composed and performed by Dafa practitioners.
In today's program, we bring you an experience sharing article entitled Celebrating World Falun Dafa Day, Feud with In-Laws Resolved and Family Blessed, all thanks to Falun Dafa, by a Falun Dafa practitioner in China. The article was published on the Minghui website on June 2nd, 2023. Although I'm already 70 years old, many people comment that I look decades younger than my age. "You look like you're at most in your 50s, one of them said. I know my youthful appearance is a result of my practicing Falun Dafa since 1999. Here, I would like to share my stories and thank Falun Dafa as well as its founder, Master Li. Part 1. A Miserable Life. I was born poor in the countryside in the 1950s. My mother died when I was 13. Once, after I argued with another child, her mother said to her, "Don't behave like her," meaning me. "She is a motherless child." I felt so hurt that tears rolled down my face nonstop. I missed my mother even more, and I got tired of living in this world. But I changed my mind when one day I noted my father sweating profusely after toiling in the field. I knew I had to keep going, for was I to die, who would help my father? Since then, I tried to help out around the house as much as I could so as to reduce his burden. After I grew up, I worked very hard to make money. At that time, the delivery business was very profitable, so I got a driver's license and I bought a truck. I did delivery for over 10 years. My health went downhill as a result of my hard work, and I had numerous illnesses, including migraines, stomach aches, kidney disease, heart problems, insomnia, and coughing. My leg also had problems, and I often fell down when I walked downstairs. I also coughed a lot and could not sleep well. I had to sit up right after lying down. I would cough so hard. This repeated endless times every night. In the end, I had to half lie down using a quilt to support my back. Due to the illnesses, it was very painful and I took a lot of medicine every day. But the medicine did not help me, and things got worse. At that time, I was 45 years old, with 2 school-aged children. Life was hopeless. Seeing my deteriorating health, my husband decided to sell our truck and apartment to pay my medical bills. "Yes, you can sell the truck, but if you sell the apartment, where will you and our 2 children live?" I asked. "Even if we have all the money, it is highly unlikely that my illnesses will be cured, so you would end up losing everything. If I die one day, you can save the money from the sale of the truck for our children's education," I continued. "After they finish school and find jobs, you can also marry another woman, so that I would not be worried." Part 2. My life changed. As long as I live, I will work hard to make money, I thought. Since I could no longer drive the truck to make deliveries, I opened a retail store. But due to poor health, I could not even stand there to serve customers. One day in 1999, I called my niece to come over and help me. She had started to practice Falun Dafa at the time and brought me Dafa books as well as Master Li's audio lectures. She played the audio tapes in the store, and I liked the lectures very much. I thought to myself, having visited so many places in my life, why had I never heard of such teachings. I saw hope. My niece used to have paralysis, and she recovered after listening to Master Lee's lectures. Can I too get well if I keep listening to the lectures? I asked. Of course. Whoever listens to Master Lee's lectures will benefit, she said. If you listen and agree with the teachings, your illnesses will be cured. I said I liked what Master Lee said very much, and thus started to listen to the lectures every day. During the first 3 days, I coughed throughout the night. On the 4th day I listened to the lectures, I slept through the entire night without coughing. This was a miracle for me. Master Lee's lectures gave me energy, and all my illnesses were gone in a month. I personally experienced many phenomena described in Zhuan Falun, and all my questions about life were answered. I bought every Dafa book out there and a portrait of Master Lee. I also removed shrines I had worshipped in the past. On the night before I did this, I saw in my dream that an animal was running around in the room and then disappeared. I knew that Master Lee had helped me by cleansing the environment. I thus read Dafa books every day while following the principles of truthfulness, compassion, forbearance. Miracles happened to me one after another. After I started doing the Falun Dafa exercises, I could feel Falun rotating in me, and I knew Master was cleansing my body. I subsequently became a healthy and happy person. Part 3. A new person. My husband has 3 older brothers. His father died when he was young, and his mother raised all 4 of them by herself. When my husband was in the army, his family assets were divided among the 4 siblings. His share included 1 room in the family house. We were engaged at the time, and his family promised that we could live in the room after marriage. When my husband retired from the army for us to get married, he found out that his 3rd brother, Dong, had been renting out the room and collecting the rent without his knowledge. Since Dong and his wife did not allow us to live there, we had to spend money renting a place to stay elsewhere. My mother-in-law asked Dong to give us back the room or at least the rental income, but he did not listen. When my husband and I decided to move back to the family house the next year, Dong tried everything he could to block us. The piece of land that was assigned to my husband was also occupied by Dong. At that time, people in the countryside all grew their own vegetables, and hardly anyone sold vegetables. With no land to grow vegetables, we didn't even have vegetables to eat. Some neighbors were sympathetic and gave us some from time to time. I complained to my husband that Dong was such a bully that he occupied our room and land for 2 years and counting. As a result, we were like 2 beggars. My husband had no choice and turned to his uncle, who, as the family elder, presided over the asset division 2 years ago. His uncle was upset and went to Dong to reason with him. But Dong and his wife Dai said no, and Dai even hurled dirty words at my husband. To avoid further conflicts, my husband had to give up. I was resentful, but could not do anything. My husband and I went to visit his mother, who had been living with Dong after the asset division. I was thinking about growing some vegetables on the land. Otherwise, there are no vegetables to eat, my husband said to Dong. Dong was upset and said, "You cannot just listen to your wife. If she mentions this again, you need to beat her up." "Why?" I said. "She dares to argue," Dong continued. Pointing at my husband, he said, "Are you a man? If so, you need to give her a lesson." I was angry since Dong kept talking like this and throwing dirty words at me. I picked up a wooden baton and said, "Okay then, let's settle this once and for all." Another time, Dai said they had lost some vegetables, and she supposed that I had stolen them. She asked the above-mentioned uncle to search my home for the vegetables. I flew into a rage. Why do you and Dong take turns bullying us? At that time, Dai came to my home too. Without saying a word, I grabbed her and beat her up. I even pulled out some of her hair and left her face covered with bruises. Uncle and my landlord pulled us apart. Just like that, the feud between us got worse. After I began to practice Falun Dafa in 1999, I decided to become a good and better person, according to the principles of truthfulness, compassion, forbearance. I kept looking within and required myself to become more considerate of others. Whenever Dong needed assistance, I would help out. When his daughter was applying for college, he asked if I could help her with her coursework. I invited my niece to my place to stay with me and gave her money when she left. Dong planned to build a new house, but he was afraid I would fight with him about the land. He asked someone to check with me and offer some money to buy the land. I smiled at that person and said, "Many years have passed, and I do not want the land anymore. Yes, Dong can build a house there." But Dong dared not to start, worrying I might give him trouble. I visited him and said, "We are one family, and please go ahead. You don't need to pay me." Dong and Dai were surprised, and I said, "I am a Falun Dafa practitioner now. Master Li told us to be considerate of others, and you can trust me." Because of these changes, my relatives and neighbors liked to talk with me. They said I always had a positive attitude. After I told them it was because of Falun Dafa's teachings, they agreed and said that Falun Dafa had changed me to be a better person. Part 4. Family Blessed. After the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, began to suppress Falun Dafa in July 1999, I went to the provincial city and Beijing to appeal. I was arrested and faced constant harassment from government officials even after I was released. My relatives and neighbors urged me to stop practicing Falun Dafa. This practicing Falun Dafa will bring danger to you and affect your children's future. They talked about me and looked down on me. One of them asked, "If officials check with you and you can just tell them you have stopped practicing Falun Dafa, right?" I said I could not do that. I was a person who was dying, and it was Falun Dafa that saved me. Master Li will help me, and nothing will happen despite the harassment, I explained. My children will benefit too by supporting truthfulness, compassion, forbearance. My daughter was a PhD student at the time. Her university asked her to join the CCP, otherwise she would not receive her diploma. When she asked me what to do, I said she could not join the CCP. In fact, she had already quit the CCP's junior organizations, the Youth League and Young Pioneers. My daughter agreed with me that she was fine. She received her PhD degree and found an ideal job. My son is a government official, and he was not affected either. Seeing him being promoted again and again, his co-workers could not understand it. Once when I congratulated him on his promotion, he replied, referencing Master Li's teachings from the conference in Australia. Master Li said, quote, "With one person practicing, the whole family benefits," unquote. I nodded and said, yes, we should thank Falun Dafa and Master Li. After my grandson was born, I told him to recite the phrases, Falun Dafa is good, and truthfulness, compassion, forbearance is good. He followed me in doing so. Once he had a fever and my son was worried, saying that we probably needed to get to a hospital in the provincial city for treatment. I asked Master for help. A doctor at the provincial hospital said, "It is not a serious illness. He just needs an intravenous injection." We returned to the local hospital for the intravenous injections, and my grandson soon recovered. Part 5. Finally, I have met Falun Dafa practitioners. I went to visit my son several days before the 2008 Chinese New Year. While walking on the street, I saw a bag on the roadside. I picked it up and found an ID card and lots of money in it. There was no one around, and I wanted to stay there waiting for the owner. But I knew my son and daughter-in-law were waiting for me so that they could go to work. So I went to my son's place with the bag. After arriving there, I checked the bag again. There were 5 ID cards with currencies of RMB, US dollars, Canadian dollars, and so on. There was about 40,000 yuan in total. My son and I could not find any contact information in the bag. I was worried since we could not reach the owner. "No problem. With ID cards here, I can check at the police station to find out the contact information," my son said. My daughter-in-law agreed and said, "It's almost Chinese New Year now. We need to return these so the owner can have a nice New Year." I was very happy because I practice Falun Dafa and follow the principles of truthfulness, compassion, forbearance. My children were also considerate of others. My son came back home the following day and said that there was a note at the place where I found the bag. "I lost a bag here. If someone finds it, please keep the money. I just need to get back the ID cards. Thank you," wrote the note. I thus called the number on the note. It was a woman with a hoarse voice. "I found your bag," I said. She was thrilled. "Thank you. I have not eaten anything in the past 2 days. I was so worried that my teeth ached and I could not sleep either," she continued. "Please, just return the ID cards to me, and you can keep the money." I asked her what was in the bag, and her description was correct. We agreed on a place and time to meet. Another practitioner and I went there. The owner of the bag worked for a life insurance company, and she came with 3 co-workers. I told them I was a Falun Dafa practitioner and explained what Dafa is. Master Li told us to be good people and be considerate of others. That is why I will return everything to her. Any Dafa practitioner would do this. I gave her the bag and she checked. With tears all over her face, she held my hands to thank me. Again, she took out all the money in the bag and wanted to thank me by giving it to me. I won't accept that because Dafa teaches me to follow the principles of truthfulness, compassion, forbearance, I said. Had I wanted the money, I probably would not have called you. The woman and her 3 co-workers were all very touched. We now know that Falun Dafa is righteous, and we do not believe in the CCP's propaganda anymore, one of them said. As we chatted, all of them agreed to renounce their memberships in the CCP organizations. Before we parted ways, the woman said, "I really don't know how to thank you." "No need to thank me," I said. "You can thank Falun Dafa and Master Li." They agreed and were all moved to tears when they left. I was happy for them too, because from this incident, they learned what Dafa is, and they would be blessed with better futures.
Thank you for listening to the Minghui Radio podcast. For more information, including news about the persecution of Falun Gong practitioners in China and experience sharing stories by practitioners around the world, please visit our website at en.minghui.org.